Hey cousins, it's y'all favorite insurance cousin, Cousin Quan, and Cousin Quan is here. Today we are going to talk about it all, the whole insurance thing and everything. I got so many inboxes and so many text messages that I didn't even know where to go with this. Sometimes some people were asking me like, well, Cousin Quan, why is it that insurance agents don't like to call people back when we call for quotes? Or why am I penalized for not having insurance? Or why do they do so much redlining? I just had so many questions. So I just like, let me just hop in and answer a few questions. Some of the reasons why I think that insurance agents don't call back is because they're afraid of the sale. They type in all your information and the quote comes back. And let's say the quote comes back at $6,000 every 6 months. So the agent that's doing it, they get intimidated because they're more like, oh, I can't pay this. So they look at their own situation. But for someone like yourself, another person, that may not be bad because they're like, well, shoot, I was paying seven something over here. So if I'm saving, then I'll go here because the consumer always wants to go where it's cheaper. Or they would just assume like they're not going to get this, or they live in, some agents are just like, no, they live in this area and I just know that it's going to go against my loss ratio. So when an insurance agent signs up with a carrier, they're expected to pretty much do what they call the field underwriting. Basically, make sure that the customer is going to be a good fit for the carrier. So when I say in a good fit, mean the carrier wants to be like a person with not a lot of tickets, that's going to pay on time, and that's going to pretty much not have a lot of claims. Pretty much typical every carrier wants. But most agents, depending on how it's set up, if they work for an agent, then they might get a salary or a commission. But I'm talking about the person name. When you pull out your insurance certificates, the person that has the contract and whoever's name is on there, that's the person that has the relationship with the carrier. And they're getting paid according to how many policies they write, how much good business that they send to the carrier, because they can lose the contract between themselves and the carrier. So that's one of the reasons why they don't call back, because they're very suspect or they think they don't do it. Or most people will say, I don't have any tickets or accidents. And what ends up happening is that once they run the MVR, there goes all those tickets. There's all those tickets that you said that you had impeding traffic for. Or no, that's what they get, because that's usually what they throw out. So let's just put it out there. They usually give you impeding traffic. So then you'll say, well, no, because I went to court and I fought that ticket. But whatever he originally pulled you over for, whether it was going 60 in a 45 or a 78 in a 65 or whatever he originally pulled you over for, it's what's going to show up. So then people got all of these hacks. I'm going to do a LexisNexis. I'm going to freeze it. Well, all of that stuff comes up. It'll just come up as a no hit that they really couldn't find much information on you. So pretty much they're still going to rate you higher. It doesn't give you any leverage to say, oh, it's going to make it cheaper because you freeze. It's no different than if you go and buy a car, or if you freeze your LexisNexis, you can't even open up certain things. Or it's like freezing check systems. If you freeze check systems, then you go to open up a bank account, the bank gonna be like, hey, we need you to open that. So usually when people freeze things like that, some people do it for identity theft, but the common thing is that it's gonna help them save on their insurance. It doesn't help you save on your insurance at all. Like, I'm just gonna just tell you, I'm one of those insurance agents that I'm gonna tell you up front what's going on. I'm going to tell you what I think is best. Now, you could say no, I don't want to do that. Then maybe we may not be a good partner relationship, and then you can always go to another agent. But what normally happens is that just like you wouldn't take a bad doctor's report from one doctor, you would go to another and get a second opinion. Get a second opinion from another insurance agent. Don't always just shop for price, because it'll fail you every time. That little money that you may save is that one accident that you're gonna wish that you had it. I promise you, it's that one accident, especially those that have children. The children, they're out doing whatever. We have no clue what our children are doing out here. If they get out here and they get into a car accident and they hit and injure someone, now you're on the hook. And trust me, when those big attorneys get out there, they trying to lick all of the liability and all of the policies. So therefore, they'll try to go high so they can get what they want. They'll try to max out the policies as much as they can so they can get the dollar amount that they want. And then don't let someone be severely injured, because that can be a problem as well. So another question people asked me was redlining. So a lot of people say that insurance companies redline. I teeter totter with that. I do see, because I see people in certain areas that get rates better in other areas. But a lot of it is that what insurance carriers do is that they look at city services. What are the chances? The higher the crime rate, things like that. It's no different than you knowing where you are, and you can say, well, I can't leave my car right here on the street because it's going to come up missing, or I need to have cameras all around. So if you have to take those type of precautions to protect your assets, insurance companies know that too. So, and that's the type of stuff that they look at. It's no different than if you are going to certain stores and gas stations, and if they got cameras all around, and then you go up 5 miles to the west or to the north and they don't have any cameras around, it's clearly that the more crime would be in this area than it would be in that area. So therefore, of course, that area is going to be more, and people will be like, well, no, that's not fair. Well, you don't want the insurance company to tell you, well, up the street we had to pay more money because they paid out more crime, so I'm sorry, Miss So and So, we don't have enough for your claim. So that's why they have to justify in those areas so that they can compensate the claims that pay for everyone. Because you would feel like, I don't live over there, they don't do that in my neighborhood. But the ones that's in their neighborhood were like, well, that's not fair. But that's your neighborhood that they're doing it in, though. So that's, I mean, people would say that they disagree, but that's normally that how insurance companies like look at it, like for real, for real. When it comes to adding children, people say, well, I don't want to add my children on there because my rates is going to be much higher. Trust me. I got a daughter that's 20 and I got a son that's about to be 16. I get it. The rates, I don't get no cheaper rate either. But what happens is you do a more disjustice if you don't add them. And the reason why is because I just had a claim like that. The company can come back and say, you failed to disclose X, Y, and Z. So now we're not covering up. We're not doing it at all. You lied. Like, we didn't mind holding up our end of the bargain, but you came into this situation lying. So that's why you do them a disjustice, because they're new drivers. And you know how it is when you're a new driver. You got your friends, you're doing all of that type of thing, those type of things. And you are just not as experienced. So therefore, the more likely of them getting into an accident, a serious accident, is huge. So therefore, that's why you want to keep your children covered, because then if they are not covered and they're driving a vehicle and they don't have any insurance and it is a lawsuit that is going on, a company can an attorney can potentially sue them, and they can sue their future earnings as well. So you do a disjustice of not protecting your children. We protect them all when they little. So when they get out here and they get to getting on the road and driving, we need to protect them as well, because not only that, that's our car that they're driving, and it becomes, we putting ourselves on the line. We're not. We work so hard to have and live how we're living, and then we don't want to put our children on the policies, and then now we're putting our assets and all those other things, retirements, we're putting all of that on the line when they're out here driving, and we're not disclosing them. So once again, Cousin Quan, my quote of the day will be, never choose price over coverage because it'll fail you every time. And Cousin Quan will see y'all next time. Bye, cousins.